She posted that
No.
she was going to the Canadian University of Dubai. Now, during this time, I'm broke and I come from nothing. I don't know nothing about Dubai, but I commented on that picture. I said, I've always wanted to go to Dubai. I'm telling the truth. She slid in my DMs, okay?
I did, but context. The way that it works, and the ladies will know this, is like they'll open the door. They just want you to walk through it. I didn't cold message him. He had been liking my pictures, commenting on my pictures, so I knew he wanted me to message him. We would DM back and forth. He pulled the whole, this DMing is so inconvenient. What's your number? So I gave him my number.
I don't think he pulled it. I think that was very appropriate. Party people, if you're serious about a relationship, take them off the DM.
Met Durelle and I was in Miami and I was on the beach. I had started to feel really hot, like getting heat stroke. And so I called him and I'm like, hey, I need you to come get me. I don't feel good and I was at the beach. And the way he just dropped everything and showed up for me that day, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is what I've been looking for. He might be the one.
Oh, you said you clashed. Let's talk about the clashing and how have you worked through the clash?
The way we communicated and dealt with our conflicts was not healthy early on. And I want to kind of put a fork there because I feel like a lot of couples use arguments and disagreements as a prerequisite for divorce or to say like, this is not for me, this is not for us, or, you know, maybe I'm better off alone. It's like, you can't even live with your mom or your siblings or anybody for that matter without having some sort of disagreement. So sure enough, you're going to argue with your life partner.
Hello, party people. Welcome to the Dottie's House podcast. Woo! I'm so excited. We have some amazing guests with us today, and y'all have been asking for a younger couple. Well, you're going to have it today. They're 31 years old, Durelle and Samantha Bailey. They have been married for 8 years. They've known each other for what, 12 years?
11 years, almost.
Known each other for 11, y'all, but they have been married for 8 years, so they're only 31 years old. So we are going to get the tea. For those of you that are new listening, thank you so much for joining the Dottie's House podcast. And for those of you who have been listening for a while, I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for sharing. Please, please, please give me any feedback that you have. Leave your reviews. I'm grateful for you. We are trying to create intention around love and marriage in the Black community. We have been so intentional about our career and our education, but our love life, it should be no different. And we should be pursuing all of those at the same time. As we all know, the marriage rate is declining overall nationally, but it's significantly declining in the Black community. And I am on a mission to make a change and to make this happen. And Durelle and Samantha, y'all, they are the same. They are passionate about their marriage. They're passionate about their life. They're passionate about their finances. They're passionate about creating legacy and building wealth. They have been sharing it on the internet. They are influencers. And I have been fortunate enough, thank you, shout out at Aaron Goldson, for introducing me to Durelle and Samantha to have them as guests on the Dottie's House podcast. So thank you guys. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for
Listen,
having us.
We are excited to be on this podcast with you today. Let's make this happen.
We're going to get into it.
Yeah.
So before we start with the meats of how you guys met, I want you all share a little bit about yourself and your background. So Durelle, I know you came from a single parent household. It was a broken household, traumatic. Share with the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I came from born and raised in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And you're absolutely right. I came from a broken home. You know, my father wasn't in my life growing up. You know, my mom had me when she was 15 years old.
Wow.
And we basically grew up together. We went through some tumultuous times. I moved at least 12 times by the time I was 12. And it wasn't because we were in the military. It wasn't because, you know, we were moving job to job. We just had a pretty unstable life. In high school, we found ourselves bouncing around from couch to couch, sometimes hotels and motels. But I knew that God had greater plans for me. I played high school basketball, got an opportunity to play college basketball at the junior college level in New York. And so I took that opportunity and I went. And I was the first one in my family to leave home. And it was pretty scary, but it was one of the best decisions I've ever made because I was introduced to definitely some tough times, but I also met a lot of mentors and it brought me a lot of opportunities. And so I played college basketball for 2 years. I ended up getting hurt moved to Maryland with my godfather. When I moved to Maryland with my godfather, I ended up having identity theft, one of my family members actually. And so I couldn't go back to school. I was working at Calvin Klein, and I was also working for my goddad's web and graphic design company. And I wasn't making any money. My goddad, the exchange was I work for him and I get to live at his place. And then at Calvin Klein, I was only making like $100 every 2 weeks. And so I was broke. So I had to figure something out. And God made provision for me. I ended up meeting a guy named Till at LA Fitness one day, just playing basketball. And one day I just came in, I wasn't myself. And he said to me, he's like, man, you'd be a great fit for the military. I said,
Where was Samantha in all of this? Had you met Samantha yet?
I had
Or
I had I
or
had met Samantha while I was me and Samantha was exchanging DMs when I was still in New York. And so during
okay,
those
so
times.
let's hold this thought.
Okay, yep.
We're gonna hold this thought. Samantha, tell
Yeah.
me your background.
So my upbringing is pretty much the complete opposite of Durelle's. I grew up in a two-parent home. My parents met in 7th grade. They've been together since they were in
Oh,
7th grade. Yep, small town in Nova Scotia. That's where I'm originally from, Halifax, Nova Scotia. And they got married at 22. And my dad was in the Canadian military. So we moved around a lot. I have one little sister and we traveled a lot. We lived in nice neighborhoods, grew up with a lot of friends, like I said, in a small town in Nova Scotia. But, I had a really fortunate upbringing. And so I wanted to study, I actually wanted to be a lawyer. That was like my dream. I wanted to be a lawyer, but my mom didn't want me to do just a regular arts degree. She was like, do something different just in case you change your mind. So I did a Bachelor of Public Relations in Halifax, Nova Scotia, studied abroad, studied international communications in Dubai because my dad had traveled to Dubai and he was like, you need to see the world. You need to get out of our house for a little bit. Because I lived at home while I was in college. So they wanted me
oh,
to
okay.
become independent. Yeah.
Wait, so did you know Durelle yet? Was Durelle in this picture yet?
Yes.
Mhm,
So Darrell came into the picture when we had followed each other on Instagram at
mhm.
some point. I don't know who followed who first. I always say he followed me
Listen,
first.
it was when Instagram had no algorithm. I always say it was God because we had, an algorithm puts folks into your view that you're interested in, the type of content that you're interested in, or type of people that you're interested in. There was no algorithm back in 2014, so we don't know how we followed each other. We still have no idea.
So y'all were DMing before DMing was a thing. I am so weak.
Yeah.
That is DMing now is a verb, and that was not a verb back in the
It
day.
was not a verb back then at
It
all.
wasn't. It wasn't. She posted that
No.
she was going to the Canadian University of Dubai, and she posted a picture of the Burj Khalifa, which is the tallest building in the world. Now, during this time, I'm broke and I come from nothing. I don't know nothing about Dubai, but I commented on that picture. I said, I've always wanted to go to Dubai. And that was the first comment I ever made. That was our first interaction. And I'm telling the truth. She slid in my DMs. Okay.
I did, but context.
She,
They
Oh,
will
let's get into
so
it.
the way that it works, and the ladies will know this, is like they'll open the door, they just want you to walk through it, right? So I didn't cold message him. He had been liking my pictures, commenting on my pictures, so I knew he wanted me to message him.
So she
So
slid in and she was like, "You should come visit then." I was like, "Oh."
Okay, we're gonna unpack this. We are about to unpack this right now. Party people, did you hear this? Who do you think shot the shot first? Did Durelle shoot the shot or did Samantha shoot the shot? I'm gonna tell you that Samantha was paying attention. Durelle shot the first shot because he was liking all of the photos. And then you made the comment. You made the comment when she said she was going to Dubai.
That's right. Yep.
And so you made the comment,
Hmm.
and you were probably one of the first people to comment.
he
Probably,
was.
probably. Hmm.
And then Samantha, I'm curious because I think a lot of women don't view that as a sign that someone is trying to get their attention and that they are liked. How did you know that? I mean, was it a gut feeling? And back then, we're talking 10 years ago, 11 years ago, when there was no relationship talk on the internet. Instagram wasn't even doing videos at this point. No one was talking about DMing and how people are getting into relationships through Instagram. Was it your gut feeling? Like, how did you realize this wasn't just a random stranger just really liking your post and making a comment?
I think it was the nature of the things that he was liking. So, because sometimes I will say, sometimes it is a red flag, right? When guys are just liking everything or, they're trying to get your attention. But I felt like Darrell was very intentional about his likes and his comments. And it felt more like support. Like he wasn't, really trying to get me to message him or he wasn't doing too much. But I was like, okay, this guy seems like he supports what I'm doing. I would post things about school and he would like it or comment and just say things like, congratulations or
And did you
happy
comment back?
day. I would be like, "Thank you," but it was never like an actual conversation. But I always felt like, "Okay, this feels wholesome. This feels like this person's
Aw.
genuinely just, interested in what I'm doing in my life versus, trying to shoot his shot or, see what could happen." So, he felt more like someone I was familiar with online and felt kinda comfortable with.
And she was liking
Right.
my stuff too,
And
by
I
the
was
way.
liking his stuff back.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, let's get into it, let's get into it. It wasn't a one-way street. So y'all were basically both, like, tap dancing a little bit, like, liking
Mhm.
each other's lives, which is beautiful. Like, you were liking and supporting what he was doing, and he was liking and supporting what you were doing.
Right,
Exactly.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah, and at that time, so, Instagram had pictures, but they also had the ability to post little 15-second videos at that
Oh,
time.
they did have videos, okay.
Just the very short ones though. And I was always, even during that time, I was always posting very short motivational videos, almost like every other day. I would post motivational videos. And in fact, that's how why her mom ended up falling in love with me too. It's because she would go through all my videos. She brings it up to this day. She would go through all my videos. She'd be like, that boy is special. He got a calling on his life, right? And so she would like those videos as well. And I think that's probably why you trusted me a little bit, right?
Yeah,
She was like,
yep.
"Oh, he's not one of those, those basketball players, right? That shoot
Right.
and make, just hit it and quit it or whatever, right? And so yeah, I think that has something to do with it.
Okay, well, I wanna understand this. How did you find Samantha on Instagram? Did you find her? Did she find you? Like, how did that whole thing work?
That's what you know what I genuinely, we have no idea. So I do have one theory because after a while, we realized that there was this one person who was from, I think, Fort Lauderdale or Broward County, which is where I'm from, who I followed, but she also followed as well. So we had one mutual friend on
And neither of
Instagram.
us knew this girl personally.
Neither
Because
one,
keep in mind, I'm in
yeah,
Nova Scotia, Darrell's, somewhere in the States.
right,
So
yeah,
neither of us knew her personally. We were both just following her.
yeah,
Interesting,
and so
interesting. Was she an influencer or something?
no,
No.
no,
Okay,
back then influencer wasn't even a thing.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. We truly say it's all God because that that part just can't be explained. I have no idea who started following
Well, I'll
who,
tell you,
but
when she told me she was from Nova Scotia, I was like, "Nova Scotia? That sounds like something out of the Chronicles of Narnia or something. Where's Nova Scotia?"
Exactly, exactly.
I said, "Isn't that Russia or something? Where's Nova
he
Scotia?"
was like, "There's black people in Canada."
Right. That's right.
I looked it up. There's only 3% Black people in Nova Scotia.
Ain't that something?
Yeah.
That and there's 13.3% in the US. So that's a whole 'nother conversation for
That's
another day,
another
but
yes.
I can't even imagine what that was like growing up. Okay, so I cut you off, Darrell, when you were telling us your background, and I cut you off, Samantha, because I wanted people to understand a little bit about you before we got into the story of how you guys met.
Mhm.
So, you guys met, Darrell, before you went into the military,
Yeah.
Yep.
and Samantha, you are currently in college.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So, where did I cut you off so where you can leap back in and kind of tell that part?
Absolutely. So, when I was in Maryland and I was going through that tough time period, I met a guy named Till at LA Fitness, and he gave me this idea of joining the military. He said, "Look, man, I have all these benefits because I joined the military." He showed me his car outside. He said, "I got a house. I got all these things." And I looked at that like, well, I don't know nothing about the military, and I'm not trying to go overseas and get injured and all this stuff, right? I don't want to have to deal with that. Well, funny thing is when I went home and I prayed on it a little bit and I started doing my research, I was like, you know what, this seems like a great idea. But I realized this one thing. I said, wait a minute, Samantha's dad served in the military. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna call her family and get some advice from them
Wait, so
because
you had already met her parents at this
I
point?
I did. I had already met her parents. So I guess we should backtrack. I had already
Yes,
met.
yeah, let's backtrack. So before
Yep.
we get into the military,
Mhm.
you guys DM'd each other,
Yes.
Yes.
and then you said something to her on one of her stories about her moving to Dubai,
Yep.
and then what happened? How did you
Okay.
guys actually meet in person?
Good, yeah.
So we would DM back and forth. He pulled the whole, this DMing is so inconvenient. What's your number? So I gave him my number.
I don't think he pulled it. I think that was very appropriate. Party people, if you're
Yep.
serious about a relationship, take them off the DM and
That's
get
right.
into
Yes.
If you're
Yes.
still DMing someone, you're not serious.
You're not
Mhm.
serious.
Yeah.
So
You're
so,
not serious.
Darrell, Imma give you props. You're not here for
Come
games.
on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
He said, "I am pulling you off this DM
that's
now."
right.
Yep.
We're gonna make this happen.
So then we had each other's numbers and we would text almost every day, like, hey, how's your day going? How's school? How's basketball? So we would kind of keep up with each other.
Were you on the phone? Did you ever have a phone call?
So yeah, so then we started talking on the phone. And I'll tell you what happened when we started talking on the phone. And keep in mind, at this point, we were still just friends. We had never met in person. And Darrell would wanna get off the phone, like, in the evenings because he was like, "I'm reading this really good book, I'm, like, halfway through, I really wanna finish it," which it was called I remember it was called A One Woman Man.
I don't know.
He was reading this book, which we should get that book and
I know.
read
I
it
don't know
together.
why I was reading. I was
What's
19.
that? What is that about?
Right? And so then I would hate that he had to get off the phone because I just liked talking to him. And so I was like, we should read the book together. He started the book from the beginning and read it to me over the phone. Yes.
To all the men, to all the lovers, you wanna get to a woman's heart, you better get the book out and reach her. And
You
that is
better
a
do.
as a science-based relationship and dating coach and a matchmaker, I've not heard this one. I've not heard this one. Reading to her on the telephone. That's
Yep.
sexy. That's
Right?
intimate.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
selfless. That's beautiful.
Yep.
So you all read the book together.
So we read the
Mhm.
book together.
What was the
Yep.
book about?
It was about a school teacher. I don't know if you remember, but it was about a school teacher and he had I think he was also a single father.
Mhm. Mhm.
And he was basically looking for a woman, and it was about kind of the challenges he was going through trying to find a woman.
Yeah.
So
So, Jarrell, were you trying to run game at this point? Like, I'm gonna read this book and it's
I
gonna sound
wasn't. I wasn't, but I saw how it was like, how she, I guess, admired it. I don't even know why I was reading that book. I'm thinking back right now, trying to realize because I had just started getting into reading around that time, but we just really enjoyed being on the phone with each other. And so I think it went like, well, let's just stay on the phone. I'll just read it to you. It just we just kept doing it, you
yeah.
know. And so
So
yeah.
how long did this go on before you saw each other in person?
So that was probably the same summer, and so I had my first big girl job. I had a paid internship that summer, and I was in Nova Scotia still, and Beyoncé and Jay-Z had a concert in Atlanta that summer. I think it was like the On the Run tour or something. So I had saved up all this money from this job, and my friend and I were going to the concert in Atlanta. So I told my friend, I was like, there's this guy that I like, but he's in Miami. We should like stop in Miami on the way to Atlanta and just like do a weekend and meet him in person. And of course, she was all for it. So I told him, I didn't want to tell him though that I was coming there to meet him. So I was like, hey, my friend and I were going to a concert in Atlanta, but I think we're going to stop in Miami for a couple days, like if you're around. And he was like, oh, I'll be there. And so that's how the plan
Well,
started to meet in
well,
person.
no. So actually, here's what happened. So I was living in New York at that time. I was playing basketball in New York at that time, and she asked me if I was going to be home in Miami, because she was going to this concert. So here's what I did because I wasn't. I called my godmother and I said, hey, this girl that I really like is going to be home. I was like, can you please fly me home? I don't have she knew I didn't have no money. I was like, can you please fly me home? And then my godmother worked for Wyndham. And so I said, I really want to impress her. Can you get her a room with Wyndham, get them a discount, get her a discount? Like, I want to see if I can impress this girl. And I was like, also, can I borrow the car? She let me borrow the car. She got the room at
All
Wyndham.
hands on
So
deck. Family
my godmom was all about it. She was like, "Yes, really," because she knew I had a tough upbringing, right? So she was just in full support of everything that I wanted to do. And so, yeah, And so then she flew to Fort Lauderdale in June of
July.
2014. July, yes, July of
Yeah.
2014, and we met.
And we met in person.
Okay, wait a minute. Party people, there's again so much to unpack here. Samantha shot her shot this time, big time, saying, I'm going to be in Florida. She was very intentional. I'm going to be in Florida. Will you be there? That was bold for you to do that. But y'all have been talking on the phone all this time, but you're like, let's meet in person. So I love that. But then if a man is serious, he's going to find time and make time. Durelle wasn't even in Florida. He said, told a tale, said, I'll be there, called his godmother and made it work. Party people, and this is to the men and to the women. If you are serious about someone, you will find the time. You
Yep.
will go after what you want. Samantha did it and Durelle did it. I want to know about your feelings of fear and rejection because I think that's what holds a lot of people back right now. Were you afraid of how he was going to respond, Samantha? And then Durelle, how I want to know your feelings at this point. What gave you the courage to do it and all the things?
Yeah.
I think because we had been talking on a friend level for so long and we had talked about, seeing each other, but it felt like it would never really happen just because we lived into, completely different places. So when I had this idea, I was like, I know he's gonna at least want to like meet me in person. We felt like pen pals almost. So I was like, he's gonna want to at least meet me in person. Let's just see what he's like. So it was on a very friend level, at least on my end at the time. And I knew because we had had conversations about, the next step in our friendship, which would have been seeing each other in person. So I knew he'd be excited.
For me, I was like, look, I'm about to shoot my shot because I don't have anything to lose, right? Like I was like, if the worst that could happen is we just continue being friends, right? But I'm like, I know me. And so I'm gonna go down there and we're gonna make something happen. Man, look,
You better work.
but I said, I know me, so we gonna have but because I've always been the type of person that love just good conversation and just deep talks and good times, and she was that way. We could talk about literally anything on the phone. So I'm like, if we're in person, that connection is gonna be there. Although when I first met her, like the moment I met her, the first thing she looked at me and said was, can you fix this convertible? Because I don't know how to close it. That's the first thing she said. I don't know what I'm doing. Can I? And so I got in the car and I fixed it. And she still had not given me a hug or said hi or anything. I was like, well, hello, how are you? And she's like, oh, yeah. And then she gave me a hug. Right.
I
And
love
so,
that, though. I have to say something about that. Samantha's got game, don't get it twisted. She said, "Can you help me?" She said, "Can you help me fix this?" I
mhm,
tell young people all the time, young women, men love to feel needed. If you
nice.
wanna get their attention, even when you're dating and you're in college, "Can you come over here and help me with this shoe rack? My printer's not working." Whatever it is. If there's someone across the hall, "There's a bug in here, can you come get it?"
Right.
Yeah.
Men love to feel needed. Samantha, that was a game to me. As soon as you saw him, I mean, even though you couldn't get the you honestly couldn't get the convertible hood
I was
to
like,
work.
this is a good icebreaker. This is a because when
Yes.
you're talking to someone on the phone for so long, to see them in person, it almost feels unreal, right? Because 'Cause they're almost like a figment of your imagination. You've never seen them in the flesh. So, it was a weird feeling to be like, "Oh my gosh, this like" and he was so much more beautiful in person. I was like, "Oh my god, can you come help me fix this convertible? I
Yeah,
just can't even."
you were, like, so awkwardly shy and
I
probably like, "What
was.
the heck?" Y'all have been talking for how long? Like, months?
I would
Weeks?
say months. We started talking in like November or December 2013.
And now we're in July of
We're
2000.
in July of 2014.
14.
Okay, so, Durelle, was Samantha as beautiful in person as you thought? Like, tell me those feelings.
1000%.
Tell
I
me.
was like, this girl is fine. Like she is. I was like, my goodness, because you get Instagram models, you get the filter, but once you see them in person, ain't no filter, right? Ain't no and you can't hide. And I was like, oh my god, she is beautiful. Just her face, and she looks the exact same, by the way. Like she's just, and I was like, oh yeah. I'm gonna play it cool. Let me fix this convertible real quick. I'm gonna let her get settled in. And I was just trying to make it seem like, and I will say this, there was an aspect of me that was trying to be good enough, right? And that's why I, went ahead and called my godmother. I said, "Look, I need you to give me an assist on this. I'll be the shooting guard. You be the point guard. I need you to help me out, get this hotel so I can impress her because I want to be good enough." And I showed her. And what I realized with Samantha is that she didn't necessarily care about all that because her parents had given her such a good life and all these things. Now, granted, I'm sure she wanted someone that could provide and all these things, but I was just overdoing it. She just liked me for me. And that became evident as we started to talk during that 2 day or 3 day period when we were getting to know each other down there. But that's why I wanted to go all out because I'm like, and so when she saw the hotel, I'm looking at her to see like how she would respond. And to her, it was just like, this is nice. She's just going in and
Right, like, this is standard.
right, but the thing that Samantha, and I'm sure we'll get into this, but the thing that, really attracted her to me was there was a day where she was on the beach and she got real dehydrated. And I dropped everything that I was doing and I went and I found her and I made sure she was okay. And I turned on the AC and I'm like, you need to go and do we need to go to the hospital? You need to go get some water. What do we need to do? And it wasn't the car, it wasn't, me driving my godmom's Toyota, it wasn't the hotel, it wasn't any of that. It was me showing her that I cared about her and that I wanted to make sure she was okay and she was good. And so that's when I realized I was like, it's not about like what I have. It's about the potential of who I am and what this can become.
That's
That's
beautiful. So this happened in Florida.
in Florida, right?
Yeah,
And
and
she
I
can tell it
think
better than I
yeah,
can.
I think for me on a deeper level, I'm very close with my dad. My dad is, like, my best friend, even growing up, like, that's the one thing I always kind of I feel when you have a good father, it almost makes it a little bit harder to find, a husband because you just have such a high standard. Yeah, my dad is my everything, and so for me, it was like, I'm not looking for someone who can fly me around the world, give me a good life, all those things while they're nice. I just want someone that makes me feel the way my dad makes me feel. And it for me, it was he makes me feel safe. That was the biggest thing. I know I can call him if I need anything. I know if everybody else were to turn their back on me, I know that I can turn to my dad and he's always gonna be there for me. And so when I met Durrell and I was in Miami and I was on the beach, I had started to feel really hot, like getting heat stroke. And so I called him and I'm like, "Hey, I need you to come get me. I don't feel good at the," and I was at the beach. And the way he just dropped everything and showed up for me that day, I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, this is what I've been looking for. This is somebody that," because one day and I think about this a lot, one day my dad's not gonna be here, and all I wanted in a husband was somebody that was just going to make me feel taken care of. And it was in that moment I was like, "Wow, I feel the safety I feel with him right now is the safety that I feel with my dad." And so that's when I was like, "Okay, he might be the one."
There's so much there. First of all, thank you for sharing, and your feeling of being so close to your dad and finding someone that's good enough is very real, and I deal with that a lot with my clients, with all of the young women that come from very stable households, two-parent households, fathers that love them dearly, that have given them the world, but what's different in what you're saying, which is so beautiful, is that you found in Durrell what you found in your father, which was safety.
Yeah,
And I'm trying to help our young women understand that these men that you guys are looking up to, that you want, these fathers that you feel are so perfect, they were made over time. Yes, they were not these men. When I met Jason, he was a great guy, and 100% he made me feel safe, all the things. I mean, you're making me relive my dating time with Jason because when we first connected, we met in DC and we were dating long distance, but the first time we really got together as a couple, we were in Florida. So it's making me relive our Florida time. but the safety that you're talking about and how he made you feel, and also the way Jason was treating my friends was really important, which was so much of the reason why I fell in love with him. But I wanna talk to you about the whole father thing. You were able to separate not needing someone who's, like, ready-made, making money, all of these things. You went with the feeling, and
Yep.
I want our young women to go with the feeling. How is this man making you feel? It's not necessarily what is he able to do for me, but how is he making you feel? And that is something that's very special. You were able to tap into that feeling.
Yep.
These husbands, these fathers that all of these young women have, that's what they're all looking for, but I think they're looking for it from the wrong perspective. They need to be
Yep.
looking for it from a, "How is this person making me feel? Are they making me feel safe like the way my father makes me feel? Is this someone I wanna grow old with? Is this someone I that is going to be the same type of father to my children as my father is to me?"
Yep.
That's what they need to be looking at this man.
I knew in that moment that that's what I saw in him. I always wanted, so my dad also was a great provider, but in my mind, and probably because of the way I grew up, I always thought, well, that'll come. All we just have to work hard, and he can become that provider in the future, but what I haven't, the safety that I wanted, that's not something, in my opinion, someone can grow into, right? They either bring that or they don't. So, and he brought it. So I was like, "Ok, I know I'm not gonna find this again." Not to mention he was, like, 6 feet tall and, like, just so, I was like, he was, like, the perfect package at the time, but I tell my friends all the time, so I always like, "I just want someone like my dad," but your mom didn't find your dad the way he is now, right? He's, matured and been through things and grown into the man that he is, and I knew that with time, the other things that you want, like a provider and things like that, they'll come, but that safety piece that I was really longing for, he had that.
You were just very mature at a very young age, I feel, and very wise and very in touch with your feelings. That's just very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And I wanna get into it
Mhm.
because, Darrell, you came from a very broken household, a mother that was abusive. I don't know if you wanna tell that story. I think it is worth telling because, Samantha, my question, this is a question to you after Darrell tells this story, is you were okay with someone coming from such a different background. He basically didn't have a pot to piss in, not a pot to piss in. You were
Mhm.
going with potential. It's all over the internet. Nobody wants to date potential. These women don't wanna date potential. So much wisdom in this interview. Well, let's talk about what you came from, and Samantha, I assume you knew this already.
Yep, I
Okay,
knew. Yep, we had talked about, his history with his mom.
okay.
Yep.
Darrell, let's keep it brief and powerful, but tell the people about your mom.
Typically, when you have a single mother raising a young boy or raising boys at all or raising kids at all, normally that single mother they try their best to provide safety and security for their children. I didn't have that experience. My mom, she was going through a lot in her own life, and it played out into how she treated me and how it affected me. And so, when I got into high school, my mom, I started to call her out on a lot of things, right? Because I knew right from wrong. I grew up in the church, and even though I didn't have parents who provided for me in the way that I should have been provided for, or they weren't good examples. God always placed the right examples in my life, and so He always made provision for me. So I knew right from wrong, and I knew what right looked like. And so when I got of age, I would tell my mom about herself, in a very respectful way. I'll say, well, why are you lying about this? Or, she had a really big issue with lying. And my mom didn't mess around. She would beat me and drop me off to the hospital. And I don't mean just beat me as in like with a belt or she would beat me up. And my mom's a big woman. She's 5'11". And back then she was 5'11", over 200 pounds. And so she would do some damage.
Like, physically beat you up
That's right. Choke
and
me
drop
out.
you to the hospital, choke you out.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And she had some anger issues, and it's because of a lot of the men she was dealing with at the time, and so she felt like all these men can disrespect me, but my own child will never question me, disrespect me. He's gonna be he's mine, so he gonna respect me, and that's how she saw me. She didn't see me necessarily as a person, but she saw me as, like, her prize. I was so determined to get away from her that, I played my butt off that year because I knew basketball was the way that I was gonna get up out of there, and I said, "I'm gonna try to get a scholarship somewhere." And even that year, I had to stay with her, and we was at Motel 6, we was at La Quinta, we were still homeless going through a lot of these things. And when she finally did get a place, I knew we wouldn't be there long. Sure enough, we weren't, and so we were back. It was just a horrible senior year, and it's
Oh
funny
my
because,
goodness,
like,
I'm so sorry.
oh, you know what? It's okay. I was just telling somebody the other day, I said, I'm glad that God allowed me to go through what I went through because I can appreciate everything that I have now. I can appreciate, the house. I appreciate the car. I can appreciate my career. I appreciate the influence that I have now because I know what it's like to go without it, and not to have any of those things. And so for years I was upset because I'm like, why do I have to play this hand? Why can't I have just good parents who would love me, take care of me? I was such a good kid. I'm like, I'd probably be in the NBA if I had the right parents, who were willing to invest in me and take care of me the right way. But that wasn't my portion. That's not what God had for me. And looking back, I'm like, I'm okay with that because there's people that have what I didn't have growing up, but now they're not in the same situation that I'm in right
That's what I wanna talk about. There's something special about you. We all are familiar with the loneliness epidemic. We all know what's happening with our young men, especially our young Black men.
now.
They are at home, many of them in the basement, many of them failing to thrive. Their sisters are thriving. Many of the brothers, our young Black men, are at home. They're addicted to the phone,
Video
spending a lot of
games.
time on porn, video games. They're lonely, they're depressed, they're not thriving in the workforce. Many that are working and have graduated from college and had jobs. Maybe something happened, they got laid off, now they're back at home. And I know a lot of these parents that are dealing with these issues with their sons, and those particular children were raised the same, many of them in private school, given all of the same resources, the same support, but are just failing to thrive. I believe personally, the internet has gotten a hold of our young Black
Yeah.
men. It's the system. And the algorithm has got them not believing in themselves and believing that they cannot achieve, that they're not good enough. Durelle, what was it in you? What advice can you give us? Share with me how you were even able to graduate from high school, let alone go to college, going from La Quinta to Motel 6, an abusive mother that didn't love you. How is this possible? And what advice can you give our young Black men that have the two-parent household, that have been given all the education, all the resources, all the things, and are still stuck?
Yeah. You know what? I think one of the biggest things that helped me was knowing that there was light at the end of the tunnel for me, and I wanted to reach that light. I had a determination to reach that light. I knew that
How?
life wasn't
How?
you know, I wanna give myself a lot of credit, and I think a lot of people do, but I had faith. I had strong faith in God, and I think in order we try to give you get a lot of motivational speakers, and you get a lot of folks that talk about, what you need to do. You get David Goggins like, "Oh, man up, build up your callus, do these things," but my faith was really rooted in Christ, seriously, and, there's no other way around that, and I do think because of that, he kept making provisions for me. I believe that my faith in him created, like, as long as I trusted in him, he was going to provide a way for me. But I had to meet him halfway. The Bible says faith without works is dead. And so I knew that I had to take a risk. I had to be okay with, all right, you're gonna be the first one in your family to leave home. You don't know what it's gonna be like. You're gonna be the first one in your family to join the military. You don't know what it's gonna be like, but you gotta do it. You're gonna be the first one in your family to get married. You don't know what it's gonna be like, but you gotta do it. So I knew that I had work to do too. I had to be okay with taking the risk. And that came from, like I said, I knew that there was light at the end of the tunnel. And I also knew that God had my back. I knew that he was with me. I will say my family, I grew up in the church. And
Right,
so,
I wanna go into that. So even though
yeah,
your mother was abusive, you grew up in the church. Was she at the church too on Sunday?
nope, nope. So
Oh,
she was,
okay, let's
I
get
never
into
went to
that.
church with my mom. It was
Okay.
my grandparents and my aunts and uncles. I never was, she was never at church. It was
So did they
always.
pick you up and take you to church? Like, let's get into it.
That's right. They would pick me up and take me. That was one thing that my family didn't play about. We all was in Sunday school. We all was at church Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We were there.
What kind of
And
church?
it was Pentecostal. It was Pentecostal. Growing up in that environment, it just it gave me a level of faith that, that was tested though. Because when you grow up that way, it's, church is just a part of your life. But I had to actually build a relationship with God when I went into that psychiatric hospital. It was like, all right, God, like, let's try this thing out. Is this really real? Is this something that, and I put my trust in him. And sure enough, I mean, there's no way I'm here with this. Like, it's just impossible without that. And so I would love to say it's just me. I would love to say it's my determination. I would love to say I knew there was somebody out there for me just waiting. I would love to say that. But the truth is that I knew I had a greater purpose through my relationship in Christ. I knew that
Thank you, Jesus.
I knew that he instilled in me. I'm like, look, he didn't allow me to go through this for nothing. There's something after this. You know what I'm saying? And I tell everybody, everybody's timeline is different. We just have to play the hand that we're dealt. I was dealt a hand that was much challenging early on in life. You may have been dealt a privileged hand, but everybody's timeline is different. But you have to know that you are here for a purpose and you have to chase that purpose. There's work to be done on your end. You cannot wait for somebody to come get you. Nobody's coming to save you. You have to put in the work to get there.
You gotta put in the work and know that you are here for a purpose, and number do the work, know you're here for a purpose, and then number 3, which I think is really important, is you need to have faith.
Yeah,
Personal relationship with the Lord, which is
yeah.
what you have. So, on that note, Samantha, you come from a very different household, and I guess when you guys met Durelle, you must have been in college?
I was in college.
Yep.
Okay, so you had already gone through it. You were in college, you all had DM'd. Samantha, when he told you about his background, you weren't concerned that he was gonna bring that into your life? Like, you didn't view that as a turnoff? I wanna understand this because this is very unusual.
So I will say both of my parents have 10 brothers and sisters. So I come from a very big family. And of all of their siblings, I've seen a lot in my family. Not all 18 of their siblings, did as well as my parents. And so what I grew up in more than anything was a house filled with love. And it's interesting you bring up the loneliness epidemic. I think we're also in a love epidemic where everything has become so transactional that no one really leads with love anymore. It's just not a priority anymore. And so growing up in that environment, when I met Durrell, I was like, that's what he's missing. He just needs love. And so that's what we gave him. I gave him that. My parents gave him that. To this day, I still think he's my mom's favorite child. I think me and my sister are top
Oh.
liver now, but that's all that I never had a concern about, me coming from one type of background, him coming from another, because I was like, this is somebody that I can actually see a future with, and we're just gonna love our way through it. And I feel like that's always been my motto, to lead with love, and everything else is secondary to that.
Yeah,
We're
and
going to
she
love our way through it. I just wanna say that again for the people. We are just going to love our way through it. Do y'all hear this? You can do anything with love. I really do believe being married for 29 years, Jason and I have gotten through it with love, and it has been
Yep,
hard. Love and faith. It has been
yep,
hard,
it
we've
is
had
hard. It's not easy.
it's not easy.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's worth, oh my God, is it worth it?
And when you get to that other side, after you've been
Yeah.
through some stuff, thank Jesus.
Yeah, because
Makes your
our
relationship better.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say because our backgrounds definitely clashed,
Yep.
just because I came from, dysfunction and, instability, and she came from safety and security and stability doesn't mean that she came with all the right communication
Answers.
skills and answers, and I came with all the wrong ones. No, we both still had to learn how to communicate
So
with one
let's get
another
into
and
that.
conflict resolution. Yes.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
I definitely think, and that's what something we've had to learn is because we came into our relationship, from our different backgrounds, I did come in very much like, well, this is how my parents did it. This is the way that it's supposed to be. But I think what's been so nice for me is to actually have a different perspective. And I've learned so much from Durrell that we both bring so much value in our unique experiences to the relationship, and I think it's made me so much more well-rounded and understanding people from different walks of life, right? Because when you grow up the way that I did and you're around other kids that grew up similar to you, you don't have that other perspective. And I think I'm so grateful to have that. But also, I've realized too, just because my parents have a good marriage, we need to create something of our own and something that
Yes.
is unique to both of us. And so once we figured that out together, I feel like we've had a healthier relationship since then. Without
That's
me coming in like this is how it's supposed to be and putting that pressure on both of us.
that's awesome, but I wanna go back to what Durelle said, I wanna get more juicy into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, you said you clashed. Let's talk about the clashing, and how have you worked through the clashing?
You know what? Samantha and I are both like fireheads. So we are very well. At least when we were younger, we didn't know how to like just let it die because we. It took us a while to realize. Look, if you win the argument or I win the argument, we both still lose because we're best friends and we're not talking to each other. It's just frustrating, right? It got messy early on because one, the way we communicated and dealt with our conflicts was not healthy early on. And I want to kind of put a fork there because I feel like a lot of couples use arguments and disagreements as a prerequisite for divorce or to say, like, this is not for me, this is not for us, or, maybe I'm better off alone. It's like you can't even live with your mom or your siblings or anybody for that matter without having some sort of disagreement. So sure enough, you're going to argue with your life partner. But early on, we went at it. And I'll speak for me, I had to learn how to one, how to talk to her, right? Because like I said, coming up in my house, it was loud. There were words that flew across the room, so certain words didn't bother me, right? And because you built this tough skin growing up in our environment, we would fight and do all these things, and so conflict resolution in the way that I grew up was just arguing. It was never sitting down and just talking.
So, you used to argue and argue loud.
We did,
Mhm.
but just because Samantha came from, like, where she came from, doesn't mean she didn't bring a fight.
Oh,
She came
trust me.
into
I
it.
could I could hold my own.
Oh,
She
it does not matter. That part does not matter.
It don't
Yeah,
matter.
No.
that
She
does not
was
matter. I don't care where you're from.
That's right.
Communication is a learned skill,
It's a
Yes.
learned
and some of
skill.
us are hotheads. I can
Yep.
Yeah.
relate.
Yep.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We
You
had
have to
to.
learn over time how
Mhm.
to
Yep.
calm your nervous system down and
Right.
Yes.
how to communicate in a way that is gonna be properly received by the other
Yes.
person.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we both had to learn
We
that.
both had to
Yeah.
learn
So
that.
you were both hotheads,
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh,
We
yeah.
both
so
wanted to be right and the other
Mhm.
to be wrong.
right, been there,
Yep.
done that. That's me and Jason. We used to be that way all the time.
Uh-huh.
Was this when you were dating? Was this early in your marriage? Like, how long did this go on? And then when did you guys kind of get to a place where you now have learned how to fight fair type of thing?
Right.
Yeah, so it really we didn't argue that much when we were long distance, especially when we were in person because everything was kinda like honeymoon phase, we were just excited to be
Mhm.
together. When I finally moved to the States, so I graduated college the next day I moved to the States, and we were all up in each other's space for the first time, and it wasn't for just a week or 2 at a time, there was some longevity there, and that's really when we started to clash. That's when we were like, "Oh my gosh, it's not cute anymore that he does these annoying things." Like, now I'm actually upset about it and vice versa. So, but it took a lot to be honest with you, it took a lot of doing it wrong for us to get it right.
And
And
you
I
guys are
will say,
young. I mean, you're very young. So you
yeah,
you you were still growing, and you're still growing, but you were still growing into adults
yep,
as you were dating each other. You were young people
yep,
We
in your
spent all of
early
our 20s
20s.
together.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very young.
But I mean, I will say we went to a relationship coach because I think we needed a mediator. And not even so relationship coach, you know this, but for the audience, different than a therapist, right? A marriage therapist. And what the relationship coach really taught us was how to fight fair. What do we need to actually understand each other better and not be so selfish in our communication, and how can we both actually be selfless and have the goal of understanding the other person, trusting that if I have the goal of understanding him, I need to trust that he has the goal of understanding me too. And that took years of practice for us to get it right. And we still don't get it right all the time.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I wanna applaud you for getting the relationship coach.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a game changer for
It's a
us.
game changer. For Jason and I, we did the marriage counseling, the therapy, all the things, and I think what's really important is that when you know you're on the same team, you gotta get to a point where I'm writing for you, he's writing for me,
Yep,
we're writing for each other. That calms everything down, and
yep.
it's
Right.
what are we that really puts everything in the proper perspective. When did you get the relationship coach? Before you got married or while you were married?
This was while we were married. Yeah. We got it while we were married. And it was definitely helpful for me because it forced me because, when you're silenced for so long, your whole life, it doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong, you're silenced, right? Like you can't speak on it. You can't say nothing even if you're fully in the right, it's logical. So when I got out of that situation, my mindset is one, no one's telling me what to do, how to feel, I'm free from that. We're not going back to dealing with that right there. But I had to realize, wait a minute, this is a safe space. This is not that, right? Like we are on the same team, and so I don't need to be as defensive. I don't need to feel like she's gonna call the folks on me, and I'm gonna be riding 2 months later into a situation, right? Like I had to come up because that stuff was traumatic. It was very traumatic for me,
Very, very.
and but it was beautiful for me to go from like being defensive to now I'm like evolving as somebody, okay, I want to understand you better, to then becoming the person like, okay, as a man, I have to lead this way if I want her to follow, but two, if I want to create the peace in the house, moving forward. And that took that relationship coach. I'll tell you this, it also took her mom to intervene on a lot of stuff. It's her mother, let me tell you,
She is our unpaid relationship
we
coach,
owe her,
and she
we
does
owe
not
her
take sides.
she don't take sides either. You wanna talk about just, she is a just individual, and
That's a proper mom. I
she'll
can't wait to be that person to my kids in Jesus'
Uh-huh.
name. I'm
yes,
calling it, putting it out in the universe.
Yes.
yes. She would tell me, she like, "Look, I know my daughter better than anybody, so you're fine, baby. I got you. I know, look,
Oh,
I
I
know what
love
we're
it.
dealing with." And but she'll tell me too. She said, "But look, you have to make sure that you are listening and not, And so we would, and I learned a lot from her. And I mean, like I said, God has always created provisions for us, and it's been beautiful. It's
That
been
is beautiful. I love how you guys seek help. You seek help in safe spaces. The relationship coach is obviously a safe space. But
Yep.
Yes.
then the fact that you have Samantha's mom as someone that you can talk to and that doesn't pick sides, it's a family affair.
Yes.
Yes.
Then I want to talk about Samantha because I saw this really was a beautiful reel. This was way before I met you guys, before Aaron Golton even told me about you all. The reel that went viral about your family flying Durelle in. I want to talk
Mhm.
about that because as Black families and as parents, it is our responsibility, I think, and it's a beautiful thing when we are all in on whoever our children is loving and in a relationship with,
Yep.
supporting that relationship at all cost. Other cultures do.
Yes.
They absolutely do.
I love how your family flew Durrell in. Durrell with all of the baggage,
All the baggage,
Yep.
all the baggage,
bought my
all of the
passport and everything.
Yep.
yeah, so let's get into it, party people. And so where were you at this point in your dating relationship?
So this was 2014. I met him in July, and then I came home, and we would be on FaceTime all the time. And like I said, I lived at home during college. So my parents would, see him on the phone, and he would talk to my mom, my sister, my dad. And Christmas was coming up, and so they wanted to fly him in for Christmas to meet him for the first time. So they flew him in to
Well, they bought my
they bought
passport.
his passport,
Yeah.
so we started the whole passport process.
Party people, all of y'all that talk about, "I don't want a man without a passport." And I know they were younger at the time, but age is just a number. It does
It's
not
just a
matter.
number.
It's
Yep.
not how you start, it's how you
How you
finish.
finish.
Let's
Yeah.
stop holding people accountable and judging people for silly things like passports. That's
Yeah,
something that can be easily acquired.
Come on.
Oh,
exactly.
So so tell it, Samantha, what happened now? Because this is just so good.
So they wanted to meet him, so they flew him to Canada, and that was his first time meeting my whole family. Like I said, my both my parents have 10 brothers and sisters. My mom had an in-home daycare at the time, so they did like a craft day the day before. All the kids made signs like "Welcome to Canada, Jarrell." And he came
Oh,
to the house, and my sister ran up to him like she's known him her whole life. She like jumped on him. She's like, "My brother's here."
oh,
And what's so crazy, I'll tell you this because I think it's just such a sweet story, but, like we talked about, at that time, Darrell had nothing, and so Christmas for us is a big gift exchange, we're exchanging gifts, and it's a big thing, it's our favorite holiday,
I know what
and
she about to tell you.
Darrell obviously didn't bring gifts, but he did bring one thing for me, and it was so he wrapped it up with the wrapping paper, and so I open it.
Wait, before she says this, listen, they give me all these gifts. There had to be like, I don't know, maybe 20 gifts they done gave me.
He had
I'm
the most
talking
gifts
I
out
had the
of
most gifts. I'm
anybody.
talking about like shoes and clothes and
I
this
love it.
and that. I'm talking about they shower me with
I
stuff.
love it.
And I'm sitting there thinking like, oh Lord, it's gonna be my time to give a
So
gift in a minute.
I open a I open this gift and it's a prayer book. And I open the first page of the prayer book and it says, "To Darrell, love Nana."
Well, that's hilarious. You re-gifted
Yeah, right.
and you got busted. But you know what? Again, it's all about the thought. It was a
It's
prayer
all
It's
book.
all
look,
about the thought.
look, it's all about the
All about
thought
the
and the
thought.
intention, because, I mean, they were just happy that I was there. They didn't, she
Yes.
didn't
We
expect
didn't
anything.
know. We
They were
didn't
just
care
happy I
about
was there,
anything.
but I wanted to give something. I was like, "What do I have? I don't got no money."
I think
Uh,
that's beautiful. Darrell,
yeah.
It
I
was
wanna talk
so beautiful.
it is so beautiful. I wanna ask you this, Darrell, because I think young Black men struggle with this too. Samantha's from this privileged household, and they're pouring you with these gifts.
Mm,
Are you feeling pressure? Like, am I gonna have to do this for Samantha? And
mm,
do they feel like they're just taking care of me? Like, I don't need to be taken care of. I'm a grown ass Black man and
mm,
I'm up here and they're doing all of this. I hear that a little bit,
mm.
and not from you, obviously.
Right, right.
From some of our, young Black men that come from different backgrounds, they feel like they're not good enough. And then they kind of get defensive when they're in
Mm,
these environments versus feeling, I don't know if grateful is the word, but yeah, grateful and happy to be in the
Yeah.
space, happy that someone's loving on you, happy that someone's pouring into you versus looking at it like, oh, they're trying to change me or they're trying to do this. What were you feeling?
I'll tell you what, and grateful is the right word. I was truly feeling grateful for the opportunity to be around that incredible amount of selflessness and love. And I didn't feel the pressure to provide all of those things and respond with all of that because I was fully prepared to at least give my all to creating a good life for us, just from that, like I knew what I was ready to bring to the table. I was like, look, I don't got it right now, you know, but we gonna build something special together. I know that we gonna work because Samantha, like, she came from a privileged background, but she worked. She's one of the hardest working people I know. Like, she was in her classes and going to school and going to work at the same time. Like, she was getting after it. I was like, oh, so we about to be work because I'm a worker. Like, I get after it. You know what I'm saying? And so
I
I
think
was
it
like,
was less pressure, more motivation.
it was just motivation,
That
and
is beautiful.
yeah,
That is, and that's how it should be.
right.
Why are we in this situation? What advice do you have? I do on every Thursday, I do Ask Arvia Anything Thursdays on Instagram. And I
Mhm.
Mm,
often get the question about I'm dating a girl, a young woman, from a privileged household, or maybe they'll say,
mm.
I don't think I'm good enough for her. She comes from a different background. How can I be confident in this space? There's something going on where, and I know women, they're so open, they're so ready. And you know this, Samantha, because I'm sure you have a lot of single friends that just want someone to make them feel safe and loved. And they will, everything else, they will work through it and they will build together. What advice, Darrell, do you have to Black men that maybe don't feel like they're good enough?
Mm,
and don't feel like the gratefulness part, but they feel a little bit more resentful. I think some men wanna date down so they can feel like they're the bigger man.
mm.
They wanna date so they can be the help person. I find it very interesting.
Yeah, no,
What's your
that's a great question. I think one of the first things that come to mind is you have to release this pressure of trying to be all the things, especially as a culture and as a race, we started off so far behind, so we're still trying to catch up. So you need to release that pressure of having all the answers and having all the things right away, right? Because as long as you have the work ethic, you have a plan, and you have systems in place to create something special, you will get there. So take away the pressure of trying to have all the things and take on the mindset of let me set goals and plans and systems to execute those goals, right? But also just realize you don't have to go into this having it all. You don't have to present with the car and with the house or with the apartment and think that, okay, wait, I need to save up for a $5,000 ring. Oh, and I don't have $40,000 for the wedding and all these things. Don't worry about that. You were focused on building a life with a life partner, not impressing somebody for the to stroke your ego or to make you feel like more of a man. No, you are a man, you have potential, you have the ability to create this life. And just know that as long as this person that you're with, if it's rooted in love, she not looking at you the way that you're looking at yourself. So you might be putting on this identity that she hasn't even created. You're just creating it for yourself,
Yeah.
and so you have to get out your own way. That's my advice. Get out of your own way and start focusing on how you're going to create this life and stop feeling bad about the fact that you don't have the life because you're feeling bad for no reason, right?
Mhm.
Your timeline is your timeline, and you have to stay in your lane and create goals and plans and systems for your timeline. That's it.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
It's
Did you hear
okay.
that, party people? Did you hear that, party people? And you're good enough, black man.
You
You are good enough.
Yep.
We
absolutely.
just wanna love on you.
Yep.
We just
Yeah.
find your wife and build your life, party people. That's all we
Yes.
want.
Yes.
And I think context is important. I think perspective is important too. We are people who went through, several hundred years of slavery. And then you come out of slavery and now you're dealing with Jim Crow and segregation. And then you come out of that and we're starting to get on our feet. And then they hit us with redlining. So you can't buy property. So you don't even have any money to deal with. And then you come out of that and now you're dealing with mass incarceration, right? And now
Yeah,
you're dealing with all these things, and so we have constantly tried to fight to close the gap and to create opportunities and to get our education and to make it out of these situations. So don't feel bad about where you are. Be proud of the fact that you're still standing. Based on the history, you shouldn't even be where you are right now. And so it's okay that you're still working towards something just as long as you're working, right? Just as long as you're working, it's okay. Don't feel that pressure. She might have it all, and that's good. That's fine. But you're gonna together, you're moving by yourself, but you're a force when you're with somebody.
ooh, let's get into
Together, you can
that.
create something special. Absolutely, And I mean, and the Bible says it. It says when you have two people working for something, you get more for your labor, you get more for your work. So don't worry about like what you can do by yourself. None of us can do it by ourselves,
Yeah.
you know. And people look at us and they're like, man, like, bro, you must have did this, or Samantha, you must have did this. I say this, I heard this before. Somebody said, everybody's jealous of what you got, but nobody's jealous of how you got it, and you have to understand in order to get that end result, there's all this work in between that gets you there. All these ups and downs and loops and turns and working together that gets you there. And so don't feel the pressure. Just release that pressure. You got it,
That's
brother.
that's great advice. Thank you for sharing. So, on that note, we know that Samantha's family flew you out. That was still in 2014. And then Samantha, at some point, you flew to, okay, Durelle, let's get into the military part now. So
Yeah.
you're dating, and then you decide to go into the military
Yeah.
because you talked to Samantha's dad, and he also said, I think this is a good idea. So let's start there on.
Yes. So when I decided that, I was going to join the military, and this is part of the reason that I knew I was going to marry her too. I got to tell you this. When I went through boot camp, right? one, her family fully supported it. She fully supported it, even though my family was like, why would you do that? And all these things, because they didn't know anything about it. But anyway, when I went through, we would write letters to each other because there you have no contact with the outside world in boot camp, right? There's
For
no
how
phones, no phone calls.
Was it 8 weeks?
For 9 weeks.
9 weeks.
So a
Wow.
little over 2 months.
And we were used to talking on the phone
Every day,
all day,
all
every
night,
day.
every day. And we didn't
And
talk at all.
let me say this, I lived in Canada. I had to spend $11 per letter that I wrote because it was international
Oh
mail.
my gosh.
Mhm.
So that he would get it within a few days, because otherwise it would take weeks.
Yes. And us as airmen, us as, soldiers, when we're in those barracks and we're around 60 other men, you looking forward to a letter from your lady. You like, man, I need something to keep me going. You need that encouragement. And so she would send me
This is
letters.
a movie, y'all. This is a movie. This is a movie.
Listen.
You heard it here first on the Dottie's House podcast. This
Yeah.
is a movie, and I want some credit. Oh,
Yeah. Absolutely. But we would get in the day room. You have what's called a day room, and all
uh-huh.
60 of us, after waking up at 3 in the morning and running 3 miles and doing all these different things, we would sit there, and our MTI would come in, our boot camp instructor. He had this big old mail thing, and he would start calling out names, Jackson, Johnson, Jones, Bailey. And there would always be a few guys that never got letters. And those guys were often the most affected. They had the roughest time getting through, and they often got recycled or they ended up failing out of boot camp because they just didn't have
Oh,
that motivation to keep going. And she would send me letters. Well, here's what really did it for me. On graduation day, right? All of us, we're in our uniform. We're new men. We're transformed. We got bald heads. We're stronger. We're more lethal. We got our combat, all this stuff, right? I remember thinking to myself, man, I just want to see people I'm familiar with, my family. I want to be around my family. I want to see people. And I didn't know if they were going to show up to my graduation. I didn't know if anybody was going to show up to my graduation. And so we're marching out, and I'm the dorm chief. So I'm over a flight of 60 guys, and we're marching out, and the MTI get in front of us, and he congratulates us, right? And we salute him. And when that happens, you have to sit there and wait. There's hundreds of families out there watching this happen. And you can't see who's out there because they're so far away, but there's hundreds of families. And when that happens, in order for you to move or be released, your family member has to come and tap you on the shoulder. And now you can break your bearing and you can go with them and just celebrate with them, right? And so there's 60 of us just waiting to get tapped out by our family members. We're just sitting there waiting. And all of my brothers in arms are getting tapped out. And I'm looking around, I don't see anybody. And I start to get
oh,
really
Lord.
sad. I'm like,
Jesus.
where's my family? Like,
What if
and I'm
what
starting
if
to get,
someone's family doesn't show up?
I'm
If
like,
someone's family doesn't
oh,
show up, then one of their fellow airmen would have to
yes,
tap them out.
right.
Oh,
Somebody else would, but they have to wait. You got to wait to the end to do that. And I'm starting to tear up. I'm like, nobody showed up for me. And I'm like, maybe it's 4 of us left. And I'm looking around.
stop it.
Trying to get
After
back.
60 people?
After 60 people, there's 4 of
Oh,
us left.
I'm
And
uncomfortable.
out of my peripheral, I see this little short 5-figure woman just running in my direction. And she jumps up on me. And I'm like, oh, you showed up. you know? I was like, oh my gosh. And she was just like, I'm so proud of you. I couldn't find you. There's so many people, I've been looking and looking. In that moment, I was like, this is my wife, bro. Like, there's no way that I'm not marrying this woman because
Where was this? Where did this take place?
San
This is in
Antonio,
San Antonio,
Texas.
Texas. And I was still in Nova Scotia at the time.
Her parents flew her there, got her a hotel. She stayed in this hotel by herself, had never been to San Antonio. She's 20 years old at this time. I mean, she was like, I'm going for my man. She showed up. I knew then. I was like, this is my wife, man. Like she flew way out here supporting me. It's funny, I'm looking at the picture right now that
Pull it off. Pull it
Yeah.
off. Show people.
You want to see? Can you grab that?
Let me,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
hold
I
on.
want you to see it. This picture right here happened literally maybe 5 seconds after she grabbed me and hugged me.
Oh, look at you guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was
Uh,
maybe 5 seconds after, and, yeah, I had a clean
y'all
shaved
see that?
face, baby face, and that was a special moment for sure, you know?
That is, you know what? Eh, I'm feeling the love. That's all I gotta say. I love how you guys both poured into each other from day one. And, you wanted to show up for him. You had been dating what at this point, a year or 2?
At least a year,
Yeah, I think it was
yeah.
about a year and a half because this was
Mhm.
after Dubai. So, yeah, it had been a y was it even a year? No, I think it was just a
It
year.
was yeah,
It
1
was
year.
just a
Mhm,
year since we had
mhm,
met.
yep. I
In
graduated
person.
boot camp in June.
You had been DMing for how long or texting? Like from the moment you guys started. I mean, Darrell, when you said, which was so good, Darrell, when you said, let's take this off of the DM,
Yeah,
get the number. From that point, because I will call that was the official time in my
mhm,
mind when
yeah,
you started having a proper relationship.
right.
How long did you go from that point until you saw each other in person for the first time?
That was December 2013, and then we saw each other in person in June 2014.
Okay, okay, okay. So 6 months.
That's right, 6
Yeah,
months, and then we started dating October of 2000 and we made it official October 2014, and then yeah,
that's
You graduated wait, you flew to Nova Scotia in December,
yes, mhm.
and then you graduated that
I graduated boot camp
oh, May okay,
in June of 2015.
okay.
Mm.
So, Darrell, once you got out of boot camp, what was next? Where were you located? Where were you, Samantha? Like, what happened?
That's a good question. So whenever I got out of boot camp, I graduated. She showed up for me, all that good stuff. I ended up going to tech school, is what they call it, to learn my trade, to learn my job. Which I joined the Air Force to be a medic, so to learn my trade, and I was there for about 2 months. And so we still had that long distance going on. At this point, we've been long distance for about a year now. And then I got orders to Arizona, Tucson, Arizona, and neither one of us had heard of or even been to Tucson, Arizona. And what's crazy is when I got there during that time, Samantha was living in Nova Scotia doing her bachelor's degree, but she was working for the Better Business Bureau. And we knew that she was gonna come and live with me. We knew she was gonna move to the States and live with me. And what's crazy is, sure enough, right, like 5 minutes away from base, they had a Better Business Bureau in Arizona. And so her boss called the one in Arizona and said, "Hey, I have one of my awesome employees that's gonna come down there. Would you guys take her on?" And so it's just crazy how God like lined that up perfectly for
it was
us.
actually my
So perfect.
final internship. I was graduating college. The plan was for me to move to be with Durrell. And yeah, it worked out perfect. He called me, he was like, I have this great student. She's about to graduate. Is there anywhere you can place her? And we made the move to Tucson, Arizona.
Okay, wait a minute. So you graduated,
Yep.
not engaged,
Not
Nope.
engaged.
to be with Darrell in Arizona.
Yep.
Let's get into that part. What did your parents think of that? I get asked a lot about people moving. Do you think someone should move if they're dating, not engaged? Yeah, I wanna know. I
Yeah,
really
yeah, I got you. I was gonna say, so October of 2015 is when it was October or November. It was October. October of 2015. I knew that when I was gonna go visit her, that I was gonna propose though. I knew that.
Okay, okay.
So I knew I was gonna propose, but we also knew even before that proposal that we was gonna do life together. We knew it. We knew it. She was just, And so what's funny is like in October, I flew out. This is the first time I can buy my ticket. So I purchased my ticket this time.
So just wait for timeline purposes.
Mhm.
I moved there in August. So
Okay,
I'm there in August. We flew back to Nova Scotia October, November.
Right,
Yep.
right.
So we knew it was coming.
Yes. Wait, did you move
that's the
in?
key because that was the same with Jason and I. Even though I was living in Cincinnati, he wasn't living in Chicago, and then I moved to Chicago, I knew we were getting married. He
Right.
Yep.
proposed to me, like, shortly after I got there. I don't
Yep.
know if it was weeks or months.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
so party people, what we're saying is You can move across the country for someone if you know that this is your person, if you all have discussed it and there are no surprises. You don't move across the country or give up your career, at least this is my opinion, I'd love your opinion, for someone that you're just dating in hopes that you're going to get engaged. No,
Right.
this is a serious decision.
Yep.
Yeah.
There should not be any surprises at this point. When you are making a decision to move, to be with someone, you already know you're getting married. It's not one of these, well, we're going to see, we need to live together first. It's none of that.
Right.
No.
What are your thoughts? What advice would you give young people?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I feel like, if this person is somebody you can see yourself building a life with, right? You have like of course the feelings are there. You are infatuated with this person, like y'all love talking together, spend time together. That's good. And then when you realize that no, this is somebody I can spend my life with, like then go ahead and take the risk and make it happen because that's I was listening to a interview the other day and this guy who's a photographer, he was going around. They were in London, and he found this guy on this bench. It was an older guy. He was about 87 or 88, and he was taking pictures of him. Well, he asked for permission. Said, "Can I take pictures of you?" And the older guy goes, "Yeah, you can take pictures of me." And so the photographer asked him. He was like, "Hey, you're out here by yourself. Where's your family?" And he's like, "Well, I don't have any family, unfortunately." And he says to him, he was like, "Let me ask you something." He said, "What's your biggest regret in life?" And he said, "Son, I didn't marry the person that I know I was supposed to marry. And
Mhm.
now I don't have a family and I don't have kids and I don't have a legacy." And I was like, "Oh my God." And it just made me think about the fact that like even back then he knew he was supposed to marry her, but he just didn't for whatever reason. He was scared, he didn't feel good enough, he was, just treading the fence. He was like, but it just made me grateful that I went ahead and I did what I had to do because it's like you just don't wanna end up being that person. You don't wanna end up
You
in
don't
a
want to have that regret
you
of
don't
a
have that
life.
regret.
Yep.
I mean, you think about it like, even you and Jason, I mean, you'll have 2 beautiful children, adults now, but, like, have a great education, like, you're leaving legacy, like, you will leave this world one day, but your children will be here, and they will produce children, and then when they leave this world one day, their children will you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yes,
it's such an important decision,
Yep.
and it's like,
yes.
you just don't want to miss out on that opportunity because, you don't have all the answers. No one. The Obamas didn't have all the answers.
You
Like,
better preach.
no one has all the answers. It's
Yep.
No.
okay, you know? So, yeah, yeah,
So you proposed in October. You went
yes.
home and proposed.
Mhm, yep. I proposed in October in front of all her family, all 20 siblings was there. Lord Jesus help
We
me.
had
Mhm.
it was called our Meet Durelle party, and all the family, friends, everyone came to the house, and that's when he proposed.
Yes.
I love it.
And I asked her dad and it's funny because, coming up, I came from a broken home, so I didn't know the customs and courtesies of doing that sort of thing. But her mom told me straight up, she was like, "You better make sure you ask her father now. Don't go and get no one knee and not ask her father." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right." And so literally an hour before I proposed, I was like, "Hey Dwayne, can I talk to you outside?" Like, so we went outside and I said, I really want to marry Samantha. And before he even answered, I just started telling him all the reasons why I thought it was a good idea. I was like, I'm going to join the military. We're going to create a good life together. He's like, Darrell, it's okay. He's like, yes, you can marry Samantha. I trust you.
Oh,
You are good. And we still have a video of him. Like after we got engaged, he was like, he couldn't
I
think of a
can't
better
I
guy.
can't watch the video.
Yes, he cries every
oh,
time.
oh, we're gonna put that video.
Anything with my dad just makes me cry.
Yeah. But he goes like, "I can't think of a better guy to marry Samantha," and so we're so happy for that, and we know they're gonna build a good future together, and sure enough, it's panning out, so but
So
yeah.
I want to get into that. That is so beautiful. One, there's nothing like having a family and a father's support, a mother's support for a marriage. And you all are about to hear how all of this love has propelled Darrell and Samantha. So let's fast forward. We're now 2025. You have been in the military for 10 years now.
10 years, yes.
You've been married for eight.
8 years.
Mhm.
And let's talk to the people. You're on your second home,
Yes.
Yes. Mhm. Yep.
Yep.
businesses beyond businesses.
Yep.
Let's let everybody know where you are today because y'all, it's just a beautiful story of what God can do.
Yes.
Yeah,
You know.
so Darrell and I both have always been very ambitious. Like we've just wanted to get as much out of life as possible. And actually, so we've built 2 homes. So we built our first home. It's funny because we were always like, oh, we'll just get an apartment. And Darrell was in the military at the time. And my dad actually was like, if you guys are gonna be spending that amount, you should look at buying a house. And so one day we were just out driving and we went and looked at this new community and we ended up building our first home in Tucson, Arizona. Loved
Wow, in
that.
Tucson.
In
In
Tucson,
Tucson, yeah.
Arizona. And we loved that house. But I think that really set the foundation just for real estate and it showed us what we can do because in our minds, I think we thought, "Oh, we're too young to build a house. We're too young to buy a house." But then once you start exploring the possibilities, you're like, "Okay, no, this is something we can do."
How'd you come up with the money?
Well, so being in the military, that's one of those military benefits, right? Is you get a VA loan and you only have to put $1 down.
We put $1 down
Put $1
to open
down,
escrow.
right, to open
Yeah.
escrow on that house. It was one of those things where we realized that one, we were paying more in rent than we would be paying for a mortgage. So it's like, why not go and own something of our own? But we were talking to another couple and they had a house and everything. And we were like, oh, we need to go ahead and do the same thing. Her dad confirmed, like, yeah, go do it. And we built our first house when we were 24 years old. It was such a smart move because it created our first savings. When we sold that house 2 years later, we bought it for 219. We sold it for 324,000. And so it was like, oh, okay, this is why it was important back in the day for Black people to own property, but they didn't allow us to. This is why. That was it. And we were like, oh, that's why it's
Uh-huh.
It's so
important.
fast. We have bought and sold 5 houses. The few. We
Wow.
Wow.
moved so much because, of Jason's career. And
Yep.
Yes.
you know what? We were like you all. Jason and I had we were engaged and Jason was like, we're gonna get in an apartment, but you're the average of the 5 people you hang around.
Come on.
And all of our friends who happened to be, many of them white, were
Mhm.
buying their houses. We were all got married around the same time. They were all buying. I said, Jason, no, we need to look at buying a house. Why not?
Yeah.
So we were like y'all, driving around, do. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh, we can do this. Oh,
Yes.
Yes.
we can do this. We can buy this house. We bought our first house, townhouse. Like we moved in probably a month or so after we got married. I don't remember specifically because we were building it. You know what it's same kind of thing. So a couple of months after we were married, we moved in. But the beautiful thing is we moved 3 years later and made a mint just like you guys did. I think we made $250,000 and we
See?
were so young, and that's when we understood the power of real estate.
Yes.
Come
Yep.
on. That is so
It
good.
is such a wealth builder and
It's
party people. That's why we're trying to tell you, find your wife and build your life,
Yep.
because
yes.
what naturally happens, it's almost like the universe just puts you in this situation. You
That's
get
right.
married,
Yep.
and then you oh, we need to buy something. It's like,
Right.
Yes.
it's all of a sudden, it's like, no, we're not gonna move into an apartment. We should buy something. It's like the natural order of things.
Yes.
Once
Exactly.
you get that first house, it's on and popping,
It's
honey.
on and
Yeah.
popping. Now
Heck
you're
yeah.
strategizing together, you know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Yeah, you
Yep.
you strategizing together because if it was just me by myself, I'm like, "Oh, well, they have it, but I can't afford that." Or if it's her by
Exactly.
herself, she's like, "Well, I don't need it." But since we're together, we're thinking, "No, like, let's do it. Let's
Yep.
build something of our own that we both own," you
And you're
know?
so much more comfortable doing it.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
you're comfortable taking the risk.
Yep.
Yep.
You're like, "We can do hard things."
Right.
And Jason
Right.
and I were like, and we're both very risk adverse when it comes to
Mm.
we're just very risk adverse.
Right.
But when it comes to houses and real estate, we're not risk adverse.
Right.
We've just learned too much over the years.
Yep.
Right.
Uh,
Yep.
Right.
so when you're telling this story, it's beautiful. Like you bought it
Yep.
and you were like, wow. So then your second house, where did you buy that one?
So what happened was around this time, so by this time, Samantha had cleared her bachelor's degree. And when I joined the military, I knew, because if you remember, I said I got identity theft, so I wasn't able to finish school. And so when I joined the military, I used all my benefits. And I went to school and I started
Okay.
studying 2 associate's degree, and then I got my bachelor's degree in health science because I decided I want to be a doctor. And I had a lot of mentors telling me like, "Hey, you would make a great physician. You can do this." So I decided I want to be a doctor.
Well,
So
I think let's pause there because something I really want to call out is originally he was like, I want to do nursing, I want to do PA school.
yeah,
But to the point we made about real estate, all it takes is someone showing you, like, think bigger. You can do more than that.
right,
And so his mentors were like, okay, well, if you're thinking that, why not go all the way?
right.
Why not do medical school?
Go
Yep.
hard or go home.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yep.
And so when they finally convinced me that I was smart enough to be a physician, sure enough, I started shadowing, and I found out about a program that the military allows us and will pay us to go to medical school. And it is a highly, highly competitive program. Hundreds of applicants every year. They only take 24. And so I
Wow.
applied. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna get in, but I'll try. And I remember one day I was playing basketball. She runs into the gym. She's like, "Terrell, you got in. You got the email. You got in."
Wow.
And so, they moved us to DC that's how we ended up here in 2021 to go
Okay.
to medical
Okay.
school. And that's where Samantha went online. She started looking for places for us to buy a home. We knew we were going to buy a second house here in DC. And sure enough, she found it, and
Yep,
God lined it
same
right up.
similar
Same builder.
communities, same builder.
Yep.
And it worked out really well because that was during COVID. So I had my corporate career back in Arizona, but they
Yep.
allowed me to bring my career with me. At the time, I was still working in corporate. So we moved to Virginia. I had finished my master's at the time. So we got here. Durelle was busy with medical school. We had a marketing agency already by this time. And some context around that was when I had first moved to the States after working for Better Business Bureau, I worked for a telecommunications company and they relocated my job. And this was my dream job. My dream was to climb the corporate ladder. But after that happened, I was like, I never want my employment to be in someone else's hands again. And so we were like, okay, well, let's start a business. Let's
Yep.
just have something on the side. So we have these marketing skills. I've had my master's. Darrell had worked for his dad's web design and graphic
Hmm.
company. And so we were like, let's just put these skills to work and try and find clients. And so we did that. And that's how Bailey Digital Marketing started, our marketing
Wow.
agency.
Yep.
Yeah. And that was 5 years ago. And it's
Another
still,
benefit of being married, you could
yeah,
start a business
you start
together,
a business
Yep.
Yeah.
together.
And
Yeah.
we know your digital marketing is good because your Instagrams are off the chain.
Yeah.
If y'all have not looked, okay, Durelle has something like half a million followers, something
Wow.
crazy.
Almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost a half a million. And Samantha, you just started focusing on your Instagram and you're already at what? How many followers?
I'm at 30. I think this time last year I was at like 5,000. And now I'm at 30.
Okay, party people, I'm at like, give me some love. 4,000 and something on the Donnie Club,
Gotcha.
3,000 and something on Arvia. But because I've met Durelle and Samantha, hopefully this time next year there's going to be more followers because they're going to teach me some of their tricks.
Yes.
We got you
Right.
We
covered.
want a K at the end of that of your following number.
Yes, yes. You know what? I will say it, and I'm getting us off track, but I really enjoy your content and you are really good at your marketing and your digital marketing. So I'm just going to give a shout out to the Bailey agency for those of you that need a digital marketer. Their information is going to be attached to this podcast. So please look them up, party people. Okay. So finish. Go ahead. I cut you off. So you started the agency and
Started the agency and then social media started to take off.
Yeah. So when I started medical school, I went back to posting motivational content. So you remember when I first met her, I was posting those 15-second videos. Well, when I was in medical school studying medicine, all I did was just study all day, chemistry, biochemistry, biology, all this stuff. I was just like, okay, I want to do something that, that is exciting, that's fun, that fills my cup. And what fills my cup is motivating people. And so I started posting on Instagram, and in 2 months, in October of 2023, I had like maybe 900 followers. By December, I had 50,000 followers.
Wait,
By
wait, wait, wait.
December.
Say that again.
In
What
October, I had 900. By December, I had 50,000
what
followers.
was that spike?
That spike was from me posting inspirational content. Like I would get on and I kid you not, I felt like God was giving me a message every day. I would post probably
Wow.
3 times a week and it started going haywire.
Like it was going viral, like your posts were going viral?
It was going viral. It was going viral, and it was, it wasn't even marital content. It wasn't relationship. It was just pure encouragement and inspiration. If
I've
you
seen
scroll
some of
down,
those, like you in your car or you walking out of the gym.
Yeah.
right? Oh yeah, those on my story. Yeah, and so like if you scroll all the way down, but you'll see me like sitting down in front of a camera, and I blew up. And then the next year, at the end of the year, I said, you know what? I said, I want to start posting some lifestyle content. So what me and Samantha do, and that in December of that year, we had our annual strategy meeting. I said, I'm gonna bring my camera, I'm gonna film, but I'm gonna tell people what this is all about, what we're doing in this room. And I thought it
And
was
this was
boring.
something we had been doing for 5 years
Yeah, we had already
prior.
been doing it for a while, but I thought it was boring. I was like, nobody's gonna want to see this content, but I was like, it might help somebody, you know. And I posted it and I woke up the next day and it was 2 million and then 4 million,
What?
7 million,
Off
and
of the
10
annual
million.
strategy. Tell the audience about your annual strategy meeting. And party people, in full disclosure, we have been going on for over 2 hours. So they're gonna have to get off and there will be a part 2. But
Yeah.
tell folks about your annual strategy meeting real quick.
Yeah,
So our annual strategy meeting was something that we had started 5 years prior, where we would just sit down and we would set goals for the following year. So we would take our life. Darrell was in the military, I was in corporate, and we would see these entities having these meetings, right? Of like, what do we want to accomplish for the following year? What's everyone's goals for the year, right? How are you going to earn that bonus? And we were both like, you know what? We need to do this with our lives because we have departments, family, the house, travel, finances, and we need something to keep us on track. So we started having this meeting where we bring out the whiteboard, we divide our life into our categories, and we set our goals for the year. And so Darrell recorded it. And we were in Business Insider, Daily Mail, Wall Street Journal, like it
Just
went
from this video.
just from this one
just
video.
yeah, it opened up the floodgates because I didn't realize like that's just something that a lot of people were missing. They're like, oh, we need to do that. We need to try to. I was getting thousands of DMs a day. I couldn't even keep up with it. It was
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, but I think it showed a different side of marriage too. And I think that's what people really liked about it too was the intentionality behind it, the organization and the concept of building together is what I think a lot of people really liked.
Yeah,
And so then Darrell had a decision to make because social media was blowing up. He was pursuing medical school.
yeah, yeah. And so I decided to walk away from medicine, and I was like, we're gonna do this content creation thing full time.
Tell the people. Do y'all hear this? Now, I don't know if Darrell would have taken this risk if he had not been married to Samantha to walk away, even if you had 500,000 followers just from your motivational speaking and you were in med school.
That's right.
There's something, the power of partnership. Y'all believe in each other. Ooh, when
Yeah,
you have somebody who believes in you. Ooh.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And what was
So
so crazy is so in that video, we share this spreadsheet that we use to track our goals throughout the year. And Darrell had so many people, thousands messaging him asking for it. And so we sat down, we were like, let's just make a website and put it up on the website. And originally we were going to do it for free, but we decided, no, let's just put it up for $20. That month, we made over $100,000
you're kidding. Off the
Just
spreadsheet?
off
just
the
from the
spreadsheet.
spreadsheet, just from posting.
I'm weak.
We didn't realize we were because that's what business is. You find a problem, you solve that problem, and we didn't realize that we had literally a solution in our hand. And we posted it, and it went insane. It was like, wait, what is happening right now? I mean, you look back, it's like, okay, clearly taking risks has some reward to it when you do it, right? Join the military, turned out well. Buying a home, turned out well. Posting on social media turned into a business, both on the brand side and on the business side. It's like, this is incredible, you know?
Party people, there will be a part 2 because there's so much more to unpack. But I want to ask this last question and then stay tuned for part 2, party people. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? As a result of leaving medical school, Samantha, you leaving corporate America and going all in on your Instagram, social media, influencer business?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for me, my goal is one is I want to continue to create a life for the both of us because Samantha has allowed me to lead. I was able to retire her earlier this year, and so she loves taking care of the home and taking care of us as a family. But my goal with social media is I want to continue to impact lives. I want to start getting out into these schools. I want to start going to businesses. I want to start talking about a lot of these issues and ways to solve problems, just like the wealth gap and the correlation between marriage and finances. I want to start teaching and talking about these things now that
Yeah.
I have this platform. And then on top of that, I just want to continue to grow our businesses and just it's all about impact at this point. Now that God has blessed me with this platform, I've been blessed to work with so many brands from Meta to Facebook to Degree to Dove. Virgin Cruise Line is flying us to Miami in 2 weeks, and they're paying me to
You
go on a
better
cruise.
preach.
You know,
Stop.
and so you know, it's just opened up a world of opportunities for us. So over the next 5 years, and of course, we want to have kids. We're gonna start trying next year. She's been nudging me. So
Pumpkin pies.
I know.
yes.
I'm like, let's hurry this up. Come
She's been
on.
nudging me. I told her we had to wait till I get out the military first, but we're there now, and so definitely kids, growing our impact, and
Yeah.
just living a purposeful, meaningful life. Really.
Oh, beautiful. Samantha?
I think a lot of the same of what Darrell said, but for me, the next 5 years really looks like just growing into nurturing our family and growing our family and making sure that home is good. I think for so long, and we can get into this in part two, but for so long, we were focused on our own careers, and now we've transitioned into an era of our marriage where I feel like we have taken on more traditional roles, and nothing has been more fulfilling for me than nurturing our family and my home. So for the next 5 years, I see more of that.
Thank you for sharing, you guys. And I want to applaud you, Samantha, for wanting to nurture your family. I was blessed to be a stay-at-home mom from I got pregnant, went on maternity leave, and then I never went back. And
Wow.
so blessed to be able to nurture and love on my husband and my children and give them what they needed.
Yeah.
And Dottie, my business now, I'm a dating coach, I'm a matchmaker, I do events, I create space for young Black people to find love.
Love
That
it.
that's a result of me feeling like I'm in a place now where I can do that because my kids are
Wow.
grown, they're living their best life. My husband is, running a public company, and I needed something more to do.
Yeah.
But when I tell you and I saw a problem that I wanted to solve, but when I tell you I loved being a stay-at-home mom and I loved the role that I had,
Yeah.
I loved it. I don't feel any regret about it. I feel so blessed that I was able to do it. I see the fruits of my labor every single
Mhm.
day. I have no regrets. I loved it, every last bit of it. The
Mm.
meals, the entertaining, the loving, the supporting, being whatever my husband needed at the time. I feel so
Wow.
blessed to have been able to do it.
Yeah.
Mm. What
It
y'all
was
do? What y'all do?
what? What's that?
What's that? Like
Uh-huh.
clock it? Okay, come
I
on.
feel so blessed, and I love that you're excited about that because
Yeah.
I don't feel like I missed out on much.
Mm.
Yep.
I don't. And yeah, maybe with 2 incomes, we could have, done or had more. I have more than I've ever needed or wanted. And I actually argue that as a result of me staying home and being able to nurture and pour in and support, we have more than we would have ever had.
Yes.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
When I tell you the opportunities that have come to Durrell since we've made that shift and since we've stepped into the roles that we're designed to play, I feel like the floodgates have just opened and the opportunities have been endless. And we're not fighting each other and bumping heads as we're both kind of struggling to figure out what our place is in the marriage. We're very clear on what each of our roles are.
I'm gonna read you this text
Oh,
message that
beautiful.
Samantha sent me yesterday when I was at work. and this just made me feel so good. She goes, "I just want to thank you so much for the beautiful life you've given me. The fact that I don't have to work for anyone and get to take care of us, our home, and the dogs is the best feeling."
That part.
I
And
love it.
I'm
Grateful.
like, it's
Great.
amazing.
Grateful.
You know what? And we're blessed, Samantha, to have this feeling because I do have friends that were stay-at-home moms that they never felt like they were fulfilled.
Mm,
They always felt like, I feel like I need to go do something else. I don't feel fulfilled. I felt so fulfilled. I was so happy. I would never change that a
yep.
day. I feel so grateful. I loved every single moment. And
Yeah.
wait till you have those kids, honey, because when they start
Oh,
acting
I
up,
can't
when
wait.
look, when they start acting up, when they get in middle school and high school, I used to tell them, I have nothing else to do but be on your behind. Act a fool if you want to. I got nothing else to do. Okay.
I
You are
love that.
act a fool if you want to. Woo! Lord have mercy, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. I've so enjoyed this conversation. Y'all, you know what? Party people get excited for part 2 because part 2
Yes.
is going to be even better.
It
Yes.
I
is.
never thought that we would have a 2-hour interview. We have so much
And we
more in
could keep
store.
going. If we had the
I
time, we could
know,
keep going.
but we will have a part 2.
Yes.
So
Yes,
stay tuned. But I want to thank you guys so much for being on the Dottie's House podcast.
Thank you for
Absolutely.
having us. This is a
Listen,
pleasure.
shout out to Aaron Golson. Appreciate you for
Yeah.
connecting us. Arvia
Yes.
feels like family at this point, honestly.
Yes.
You really do. And we're
Oh,
excited.
y'all are my babies.
Yes.
We feel it.
That's
We
what,
feel
look,
it.
just before you came back from the bathroom,
Mhm.
Samantha was like, Arvia is my American mom. Just so you know. I was
I
like,
got you, girl. I got you. You know what's so crazy? It's like we had not discussed half of this, and it's like parallel universes. Like so many things that you're saying, I'm like, oh, that reminds me of me and Jason. Oh, this reminds me. And I just am happy to talk to someone that's happy about leaning in and being at home to nurture her husband and kids. And y'all heard it. I said it, whether you like it or not, whether it's cool or not, you can call me whatever. I loved being a stay-at-home mom every last moment.
Yep. Yep.
Embrace it and don't feel bad about it.
No. Exactly.
You said the roles that God designed us to have.
Yeah.
come on. That's good.
Even to this day, Jason takes out the trash. I don't. I mean, I don't know. I love having roles.
Yep. Me too. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
wow.
company.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Dottie's House podcast. Thank you to Samantha and Durelle. They were so open, so authentic. Stay tuned for part 2. Please follow us on Instagram, Arvia Few, and at the Dottie Club, and follow Durelle and Samantha Bailey. I will put those links in the chat. Please share all of your feedback. Please share this podcast episode with anyone that you think needs to hear it. We have been blessed today with a beautiful message from 2 very amazing, wise young adults. They're only 31, but you would think that they were 50 the way they're speaking. So thank you for sharing the knowledge, you all, and stay tuned for the next episode. Love y'all.